Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 188. Thank you to the person who rated this podcast 5 stars. So I've just opened Spotify to go see this is what I do, right? When I start recording, I open Spotify, I look for my podcast, I look to see what the last number episode is so I know what to say at the beginning of the next one. And I have just noticed that the 5 stars has went to 124, and the only reason I remember is because it was at 123, and it has been for about a week. 123 is a very easy number to remember. I wouldn't have remembered it otherwise. But thank you to that one person who rated it 5 stars. That's very kind. It's keeping the 5-star thing alive. Right, what are we going to talk about today? I've just posted something on Instagram about, it's a carousel that says 5 things I didn't do to lose weight and keep it off for 10 years. And I have had a bit of an epiphany. So back when I was 30 years old, approaching 31, that was when I decided I wanted to stop dieting, right? That was when I had that conversation with myself and said, look, bro, what is it going to take for, like, what are all these other people doing who lose weight and keep it off, right? And you've heard me talk about this many times before. So that was the day I decided I'm not doing the diet thing anymore. I'm not doing the yo-yo dieting. I'm not doing it. This is no longer about what are the things that I need to do to make my weight come down, because that is just insanity. I've been doing it for 10 years. I keep following things. My weight keeps coming down. I stop following the things. My weight goes back up again. We're not doing that anymore. What is it that people who what is it that people who lose weight and keep it off, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And that was the angle that I came at it from. So I've just posted a thing there, and I said something that was that really struck me, and I should have realised this when I turned 40. And this is the way that I coach all my clients as well. You know, I tell you this all the time. My mind is always 10 years in the future. I've said it multiple times today doing check-ins with people. Here is something that you are going to have to work on and change and accept has to change now, so that you can not just lose weight over the short time we're going to be working together, so you can still be there 10 years from now. And I've just realised I'm 40. 10 years ago, I sat down and said, what is it going to take for me to lose weight and still be there in 10 years' time? What is the 40-year-old version of me doing? How is that person living? And I'm already here. Well, not already, but it took me 10 years, but here I am. Living at the weight that I wanted to be, got the life that I want to have, got the relationship with food that I want to have. That's it. For 10 years, I've got to live like that. And I'll get to live like that for many more. Do you know what? Let's go through the 5 things. Let's just go through this Instagram post that I made, right? 5 things that I did not do to lose weight and keep it off for 10 years. Number 1, follow thousands of people on social media. I never followed a lot of people on social media, ever. The only time I did was when I was building the Monroe Method, and it was back in 2018. I did follow 2,000 people, but that was me playing the follow and follow game with like Slimming World and Weight Watchers accounts, trying to get traction and build my presence online. If I go look at my Instagram right now, I probably follow less than 48 people. For me, it is insanity to be following thousands of accounts, let alone hundreds. You don't see half the content, and if you do, like, what is it that people think is going to happen if they? I'm thinking specifically about people with weight loss accounts, right? More voices do not give you more answers. More voices gives you more noise. More noise gives you more confusion, and the more confused you are, the more overwhelmed you are, the less chance there is of you ever getting started. Stop following so many fucking people on social media. Stop listening to so many people. Find the 1, 2, or 3, or it's up to you, do what you want, but I'm just dishing out advice here. Find the handful of people who are qualified, who have a similar message, Don't go looking for the people that you agree with. This is the thing. Do you know, I have had, see over the years, the amount of people who will come to me and ask a question. And it's like, yeah, I'm going on holiday. It doesn't happen so much anymore, but it used to. I'm going on holiday in 3 months and I need to lose 3 stone. Can you help? Like, no, that's not going to happen. And I know damn well that person is not going to stop and just take my answer as the answer. They're going to keep going until somebody says, yes, I can help you do it. You just have to come and drink these shakes and do this and do that. People listen to people that give them the things they want to hear. You know, people have their own ideas and outlooks. You ever see this on social media, right? Somebody's been following someone for a long time, and then that person will say something that they don't agree with. And then they'll comment going, oh, I followed you for a long time. I always agree with what you say, but you've lost me as a follower on this one because they've said something that that person doesn't agree with. There are many people who use social media to validate themselves, right? They don't go on social media to learn stuff. They go on social media to find people who say stuff that agrees with their thinking, right? They go on social media to use it as a way of backing themselves up. Yeah, here's my opinion and my thoughts and my beliefs. Let's just go let's go build a list of, not a following, because that's people that follow you. Let's go build a feed full of people who agree with my opinions. And then there's people who go on there wanting to learn stuff, but they follow dickheads like Steve Bartlett and other people who have podcasts, Mel Robbins and all these imbeciles who just have got no integrity and no morals. They'll let anyone on. They'll let there's no care for the information that they put out in the world. How can you have a guest on 1 week who is evidence-based, who will tell you all of the facts, all of the figures, all of the science? Here is how these things work. This is the fully backed evidence up until this point, until we get to a point where we find new evidence that is to the contrary. And then you get, next again week, a fucking snake oil seller talking absolute shit about something else. And this is the thing. Like, if you listen to this podcast, it's the same all the time. I would like to think. Like, the underlying message should always come through. Every episode should always be... It's the way that you measure integrity, right? You should be able to go back to episode 50, episode 80, episode 90, whatever those are, I don't know. And if you listen to that, yes, the message can evolve because the landscape changes, but the underpinning message should always be the same. That's what integrity is, right? It's not... It's understanding that things can change based on new information and based on new data, but it's also knowing that you don't go chopping and changing your message just to try and make more money or to get more clients. Do you know what I mean? Staying true to yourself and true to what's right. Anyway, back to the point. There's a difference between like following people like me who, I mean, I guess it could get boring listening to me saying the same stuff all the time, versus following people who just have a never-ending revolving door of guests in the health space anyway. Maybe not in other things. I don't listen to podcasts, so I don't know. How did I get onto podcasts? Because I didn't do the podcast, but yeah, anyway, this was the next one, by the way. The next one was listen to Endless Health podcasts. I didn't do that. And I said, podcasts are just the audio version of social media. Full of opinions, not facts, full of confusion, again, overwhelm. Very little of it will actually ever apply to you. One of the big mistakes I made when I started out in the Monroe Method was giving people too much information. Like, why? It was too academic. You know, I just came off the back of a nutrition qualification. It's like, right, guys, here's what sugar does. Here's the difference between soluble and insoluble. Nobody cares about that stuff. They don't need to know it. You know, that's why I've completely overhauled the 30-day trial. It's gone. It's now the 30-day kickstart, and I have cut out all the stuff that people just don't need to know and kept it entirely focused on how we're going to help people lose weight for life. So yeah. be just as cautious around podcasts as I'm encouraging you to be around social media. Be selective. Number 3, things that I did not do to lose weight and keep it off for the last 10 years. Cut foods out my diet. You can cut foods out your diet, you can lose weight, but here's the thing. The foods that you're cutting out, they're usually your favourite foods. Nobody's cutting things out their diet that they barely eat. They're cutting the stuff out that they eat too much of. Why are you eating too much of it? Because it tastes great and you love it. So absence makes the heart grow fonder. If you cut your favourite foods out of your diet, they will force their way back in, and they will not do it in a pleasant way. They will kick the door down and get right back in there, and it will be a mess. It doesn't work. Cutting stuff out does not work, because the stuff then just finds its way to worm back in. Or you'll find ways to get it back in. This is how people then go on to develop reward behaviour, treat behaviour. I deserve this. I had a big workout today. I've earned that. I can have that thing now. It's the pathway to disordered eating. One of many pathways to disordered eating. Number 4, which I touched on at the start. I stopped chasing the number on the scale. I stopped doing this for a number. And I started doing it for my future, my family's future, my kids' future. At 30, I asked, how do I want to feel at 40? What do I want my life to look like at 40? What is the future version of me doing? And I brought it into today, 10 years ago. And now here I am at 40. I've achieved all the things I wanted to achieve for myself at 30. And now I get to do it again. I'm 40 years old. How do I want to feel when I'm 50? And what's the pathway I need to take over the next 10 years to feel like that? And the last thing, like I said in the beginning, the last thing that I did not do to lose weight and keep it off was diet. You have to reach a point where you realise that dieting does not make you lighter. It makes you heavier. You have dieted, if you're like most people I work with, most people who listen to this, the same age range, you have dieted for your entire adult life. You have been dieting for the last at least decade, probably 2, maybe even 3 or more decades. And you are now heavier than you were than the very first day you thought you had to lose weight. And you have dieted every fucking year since, and you have gained weight since. There has to come a point where you finally realise that you have dieted your way to a higher weight. You would kill to go back to, most of you, not all of you, but the majority of you would love to be able to go back and slap yourself in the face at the age of 19 and say, don't do it. Yes, you're 5 pounds overweight right now. Yes, you would like to have less of a tummy. But Jesus Christ, wait till you see what it's going to be like in 20 years' time. You're going to have 2 stone to lose, 3 stone to lose, 4 stone to lose. Don't go down this path. You're fine as you are. Diets do not help people get smaller. They do not help them get lighter. Diets are the pathway to weight gain. Do you know if diets didn't exist, we would have much fewer weight problems? How mad is that? Dieting is portrayed and viewed as a thing that's supposed to solve all that. It's not. It's a cause of a problem, not a solution to it. Bypass the diet thing and focus on understand. Here's the thing, right? I'm going to say this and then I'll say something else. You need to focus on understanding why you have weight to lose, and you need to fix that thing. And here's the mad part. One of the biggest reasons why you have weight to lose is because you diet. You have dieted yourself annually to a higher level of body weight year after year. And I opened up the intake of the new 50-day kickstart. My absolute dream was going to be to get 50 people into it. I didn't think it was going to happen because that's a big number. 53 people came in. And I have sat and done 53 sets of starting stats over the last week. And the amount of people who believe that they've had success. I've had to have this conversation 24 times at least. If you had been successful in weight loss, why are you here? We need to let go of this idea that just because the scales have come down, that's not a success. Yes, something might have helped you lose weight. However, if your idea of success is losing weight for a month and putting it straight back on again, then you need to redefine your idea of success. You need to raise the bar. You need to want better for yourself. Success does not equate to a number becoming lower on a scale. If you cannot stay at that number, if you do not know how to stay at that number, if you've not learned anything along the way, if you've not changed anything about yourself, then it's not been a success. It's been a waste of time. Stop wasting time on diets that don't help you change the reasons why you have weight to lose. So, to summarize, 5 things I did not do to lose weight and keep it off for 10 years. I did not follow thousands of people on social media. I did not listen to endless health, mindset, and whatever podcasts. I never cut anything out of my diet. I didn't chase any numbers on a scale. And I did not even diet at all. I focused on understanding why I had weight to lose. And that was the day that my yo-yo dieting came to an end. And 10 years of weight maintenance started. And I'm still going through it. Anyway, that's enough from me today. Until next time.